Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely evening. Today I would like to memorialize and honor a great man who is a great influence to me and my business, my channel, and everything else that I do. I did a video on him 7 years ago, and that is Slipperman, also known as Tim Gilles, but most people on the internet know him as Slipperman because he didn't really release his real name until very recently. And unfortunately, he has passed away. He was a massive influence on me and the idea of what real professionalism is, not your traditional definition of professional. His definition of professionalism meant that every single day you'll be able to do work to a certain standard, that even if somebody else manages to kick your ass once, that you'll be able to kick the majority of people's asses at whatever it is that you do. Even if you have, your wife is sick, or you get divorced, or something horrible happens, you're not feeling well, you're depressed, you have a 102, whatever it is, you're still able to perform to a consistent level because you have the experience, because you have the knowledge, and above all, because you care about what you do. He taught me, and he taught millions of people most likely, that you should see whatever it is that you do in life as a craft. It's not just a 9 to 5. Nothing should be a 9 to 5. Whatever you do is worth doing well. Whatever you do is worth figuring out how to be the best at it. But also, remain humble. Realize that you could have 30 or 40 or 45 years of experience in a field and still get your ass kicked today the same way that you did when you first tried 40 years ago if you're not constantly staying on top of yourself, constantly trying to learn new things, learn new ways of interfacing with people in the world, and always have this sense of natural curiosity for why things are the way they are. Collect as much information as you can and use that information so that each time you walk into the studio, you are a better recording engineer than you were yesterday. You should always be learning, always be improving, always be trying new things. The other thing that I learned from him is that professionalism isn't this ridiculous idea of I'm going to come in with a suit and tie and speak all prim and proper and be all friendly. He didn't care if he got into conflicts with people. He didn't care if he thought that something was bullshit. If he thought something was bullshit, he would explain why he thought that to be the case. And he didn't really care who he offended. He did not care about people that would say, don't use him, he curses, or he says silly things and blah, blah, blah. What he cared about is that his reputation for caring about his craft more than anybody else was known. And it's shown through in his work. His work recording heavy metal is absolutely amazing. His albums sound great. There are so many heavy metal albums that just sound like paper-thin, overcompressed garbage. And his always, even when I don't really like the music very much, have consistently sounded like beautiful works of art. And I'll include a demo reel that he posted about 15 years ago to a forum thread at the end of this video so you could hear some of his work for itself. He figured that his work and his reputation would speak for himself. He didn't have to care if he ruffled feathers. He didn't have to care if he said something that may come off poorly to somebody else. He didn't have to care about the consequences of being honest because he knew that his work would always speak for itself because he saw what he did as a craft. He never saw himself as smarter than anybody else. He always saw himself as an idiot. He always remained humble, and he always understood that because he felt like he was an idiot and because he was as humble as he was, that he would have to put in that work every single day to become the best at what he does. And that if he just kept doing it, just kept pushing the ball forward every single day, he would get better and better and better. There are stories online of how he started his career and how he started his studio rig from nothing and how it grew to be one of the best known places to produce and record heavy metal music in the United States. And it is an inspiring story of how A, you can live life on your own terms if you truly care to become the best at what you do. B, you can see yourself as an idiot and still rise to being one of the best at what it is you do. And C, that the concept of traditional professionalism is a pile of shit. That because I see this all the time where people will use professional as an insult or unprofessional as an insult. And 99% of the times that I've heard somebody say something is unprofessional, they're not actually caring about the quality of the work being done. They're usually using it as an insult because you've said something that offends them or because they just kind of want to hurt you. It's kind of like when your spouse just kind of pushes your buttons on something just because, everybody loves Raymond with Raymond and Deborah and that kind of back and forth rubbish just because they hate each other. And it's one of those things where they're not really saying that the work that you do is bad. They just kind of want to make you feel bad. So they're just going to they're going to hit you in the jugular. And if you care about your career, they'll say you're unprofessional. But they'll never say what you're doing that's actually wrong or how it affects your clients. And it may have never actually affected your clients at all. His concept of professionalism was simply, when people show up here, they get a better result than they will get if they show up anywhere else. Period. That's it. And it worked for him. He didn't have to care what other people thought of him. He didn't have to care if somebody else didn't like the way that he posted or the manner in which he posted, the manner in which he wrote, or the manner in which he spoke. The people that worked with him always got the best results. And that spoke for itself. And it taught me at a young age, I started listening to his radio show when I was 16, that would, kind of got into my head that regardless of what it is I choose to do with my life, I should try to become the best at whatever it is that I do. I should see it as a craft. And I remember seeing it that way, whether I was stocking shelves at Modell's Sporting Goods and trying to come up with methods to have as much stuff from the stockroom out as possible without disobeying company standards so that it would always be out so that you wouldn't have junk sitting in the stockroom that doesn't get sold, or whether it is sitting up until 3 or 4 in the morning to learn every single little thing that I can do about motherboard repair, even if I think that I'm an idiot. And, I don't think I would have pursued the field that I pursued as hard if I didn't listen to his radio show as a teenager and I didn't learn from it that genuine sense of confidence that he had in himself, and I didn't pursue life from that kind of standpoint that he had. And it really does make me sad that he has passed, because there is an entire generation of people that likely could really learn something from somebody like him. And I hope that those old radio shows that were from the womb forums are archived somewhere or someplace where somebody can find them. They were of great use to me. I didn't have a lot of role models growing up, and I most certainly did not have career role models growing up, but he was one of them, and he helped me get where I am, and I really appreciate it. And one thing that I'll always regret is that I wasn't able to make the time to do an interview with him or have him on the channel or just be able to shake his hand and say thank you for the effect that he had on my life in person and the early days of my career when I was just kind of stumbling around, didn't really know what the hell I was going to do with my life, but inspired me, regardless of what I choose to do with my life. See it as a craft, become the best at it, and if you're the best at it, screw what everybody else thinks of what you say and what you do. The forum, about 15 or 16 years ago, I remember I messaged him something and he sent me this, and it's I never made the time to find the names of all the songs in this. I always wanted to, because it just is really well-produced stuff. The patience that I had, whether it was staying at Avatar Studios until 4 or 4:30 in the morning after spending the entire day working and going to school, or just sitting in my office until 3 or 4 in the morning to just try and figure out one board problem that I just didn't want to let go. I can directly trace that stubbornness in trying to become the best at my craft back to listening to your radio show when I was 16. Thank you for that inspiration, and thank you for the effect that you've had on everybody who's listened to you. Rest in peace, sir. I hope that you're having good accommodations on the other side. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.